Thank you, choir. Thank you, music ministry. It's beautiful. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King said, "Everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love." Well, let me begin by giving a huge thank you to all of our sacred servers here at Unity on the Bay. They do an amazing job. And they add so much to our experience here. And I and the staff are ever so grateful for all of them. And I will say that each and every person that is a sacred server exemplifies that heart of service. And we are so grateful for them. And you know, the thing about service and people that we admire, all our heroes, it's all because of their giving unselfishly in many ways to people in need, to organizations, to groups, to causes, with a loving and open heart. And in Unity, we also, and Christianity, have the example of Jesus as our way shower and as an example of someone whose life was dedicated to service. You know, the Bible tells us he went from place to place, teaching and ministering, healing the sick. And he taught in many ways in stories and parables. And one of the parables or the stories is the one of the talents. And I don't know if you're familiar with it, but I'm going to kind of summarize it and put it into context for today. And a wealthy man, was going to leave for a little bit, and he wanted to entrust some of the people that he worked with some duties, some charges, some talents he called them. And talents are money in the scripture time, but let's just call them our talents, our spiritual gifts. And one man had 5, he had a lot. Another man had 2, a little bit less, but he still had some. And one man had 1, but they each had something. They each had something that they could do something with. And the man went away, and then when he came back, he asked, well, so how'd you do? What's going on? And the man that had a lot said, well, you know, I went out and I expanded, and there's more of what you gave me. And likewise, the second man also said that. You know, I went out and I expanded, and there's more of what I had that you entrusted me with. And the third man said, you know, I was really afraid. I just didn't know what to do. And so I hid my talent. I didn't do anything with it. And the man said to him, you know, that's not the whole idea of being here. You know, you really want to express that. You won't have that happiness and joy that people get, your fellow men get from multiplying and extending that gift of service. So try again, and I'm sure he did. So, you know, each one of us has something that we can share. And as we give from our heart, we receive the gift of service, joy, happiness, love. We feel blessed. And so in that way, service is a gift. It's a gift that we can open. And today we're going to have a look at what does it mean that service is a gift? Why is it important that we recognize it? And how can we be of service and open our gift? Well, first, what does it mean that service is a gift? The dictionary defines service as an act of helpful activity. So we recognize that service is an action, and it's one of the most fulfilling actions that we can take. You know, for me, personally, service is extending and sharing the love of God that's within me with who's ever around me, whether it's by listening, by a kind word, by an act of kindness, by praying with someone. And it extends further and further out into the community, into work, and we each have opportunities with the people that we meet in our immediate surroundings and at work and here at Unity on the Bay or in our community. The truth is, there are as many ways to be of service as there are people to serve. So there's a cute little story about a minister who was preparing pancakes for her young sons when they began arguing over who would get the first pancake. So she saw an opportunity for a moral lesson, and she said, if Jesus was sitting here, she told him, he would say, let my brother have the first pancake. The younger boy turned to his brother and said, you be Jesus. It's true, isn't it, that sometimes we wait for someone else to do the things that we are called to do, that we're here to fulfill our purpose for. You know, we'd like to put that off on someone else, and I probably was one of those people too. You know, I didn't, someone else can say the opening prayer or someone else can do the thing. And then I recognized that wasn't a particularly fulfilling stance to take. And so growing into that calling, that purpose, is really what we're all called to do. Charles Gill says, there are many wonderful things that will never be done if you don't do them. So we do have, I believe, an internal guidance system. I call it my little niggle. And it comes at a point where we have a choice to do something or to not do something, to serve on that committee or not. And a simple example, I think, is traffic or a line in the grocery where you know that somebody wants to come in. And if I'm not in a good mood, I might go and make that space small and leave that person out. But it doesn't feel so good, you know? If I make space and allow that person to come in, I feel better. And so I've learned over time that it's much better to feel better than it is to feel like, I didn't like that feeling. So it's the same with and it becomes a habit, you know? It becomes something that we do, like it's self-rewarding, you know? I like feeling good. We all do. It's a beautiful thing. Another point is service from the heart is giving without expecting to get. So the guy on the road isn't going to wave hi. Not necessarily. Sometimes they do, but not necessarily. And service is love in action. It's a wonderful way to share our divine gifts. And we come to recognize that service is really a spiritual practice. And the value of all service is the spirit in which we serve, not in the importance or the magnitude of the service. Because, you know, even the smallest act can have ripple effects, you know? If you're kind, if you're generous to someone, they take that in. And then they can pass that along to the next person and the next person. And it ripples and it grows and grows, and it can have effects far beyond anything we could possibly imagine. St. Francis de Sales said, there is nothing small in the service of God. So the invitation is to open our gift, right? Open our gift of service. Helen Keller said, when we do the best we can, we never know what miracle is wrought in our life or in the life of another. So another way that I look at this is like service is going to the gym for your soul. So, you go to the gym for your body and you work on your muscles and you get yourself trained, and it's a gradual process. You don't go in the first day lifting 50 pounds or 100 pounds. Me, I can barely lift 10, but but service is like going to the spiritual gym. It's going to the gym for your soul. And with each little effort, with each little thing that you take, that serving muscle, that muscle of giving, gets stronger and stronger, and pretty soon you'll be up here. No. But really, it's whatever you are called to do. It's not everybody is meant to do the same thing. We're each called. We each have our own gift. We each have our own light to shine in the form of whatever service we are called to do. What was your experience when you first walked into Unity on the Bay? I remember being greeted by smiling, happy greeters. It's a joy to meet people that are happy and doing service. And I've told this story before, but my friend Abe was in the bookstore when I came by at Unity on the Bay the first time back in the old building, and he said, "Come to service, come to church," and I did. And boy, I'd come and I'd get a hug and get greeted, and you just never know where that one person, one smile, one welcome, one act of kindness is going to lead. There is a circle of giving and receiving. And we give what we want to receive, and we know that we have love when we give love. Mahatma Gandhi says, all other pleasures and possessions pale into nothingness before service which is rendered in a spirit of joy. So how can we be of service and open our gift? Well, Jesus is quoted in Matthew chapter 25 saying, "Truly I tell you, as you did it to one of the least of these who are members of my family, you did it to me." And so people are all around us and are right in front of us that we can be kind to and we can render service to. Last month we did a series on the Unity principles, the 5 principles, and, beginning with God is and I am, and if you say God is love and I am love, God is kindness, I am kindness, then I can extend that to those around me and the rest of the world. And the actual wording, in the 5th principle is it's not enough to understand spiritual teachings. We must apply the learning in all areas of our lives, incorporating them into our thoughts, words, and actions. So that's like the guy in the story of the talents. He probably understood what he had, but he didn't go out and use it and demonstrate the gifts that he had. So you might say, well, what can I do? I don't have any particular skills. I don't know. There are a couple of things that I might suggest. One of the things that I've done in certain times of uncertainty is go back to my childhood, go back to my adolescence, go back and think about things that I loved, things that I enjoyed doing, things that inspired me. What was my vision? What did I want to be when I grew up? And then, life got in the way. But those kinds of things are clues that we have. And as Carmel said in her talk about service, and the quote is that it's that heart of service that you bring. It's that love, it's that joy, it's that spark that really makes all the difference in the world. You know, the other thing is maybe you feel like your life has been a little too chaotic and it's been a little too scrambled up for you to even think about doing service or reaching out in some way. And I would point out the example of the 12-step programs. You know, Alcoholics Anonymous, Al-Anon, Codependence, all of the 12-step programs begin, you come to the program, you can barely put two and two together. And through that program, through the mentorship of a sponsor and through the meetings, a growth and transformation begins to occur, and at some point, a person is ready to then sponsor someone else new coming in. And that is really a perfect example of what a spiritual community does for us all. Is we may not feel whole and complete, even though we are. We may not feel that coming in, but through our interactions with those that are here and through our own spiritual growth work of prayer and meditation and serving as well, we begin to recognize our wholeness and completeness and feel that love and joy and peace that is ours. Remember, there are as many ways to be of service as there are people to serve. So what inspires you to be of service? You know, true service is really the expression of love and activity. And so we've mentioned the Sacred Service Fair in the back. And again, my invitation to you would be to check it out. Visit the people. They're all great. They're all lovely people back there, by the way. We love them all. So I'm reminded that our good comes through us rather than to us. And it's an idea we need to kind of think about for a minute. Our good comes through us rather than to us. Our prosperity, our goodness comes through our giving and through our serving. So what are you waiting for? Open up your gift of service. So in conclusion, I'd like to say that service is any helpful activity. There are no small acts of service. Giving in a spirit of joy enriches me as well as another. I can be on the lookout for opportunities and ways that I can be of service. So the invitation now is for you to take a moment and let these words kind of sink in as an invitation to Spirit. I am willing to be of assistance, and I ask Spirit to help me recognize the right opportunities. As I join with others in service, I offer what I have with joy and enthusiasm. I give of my time and attention, my skills and expertise, my love and compassion to make a difference in the lives of others. I take time to rejuvenate myself so I can be fully present to those I'm serving. I eat healthy foods. I get adequate rest and exercise. And I take time in the silence. As I step into service, I know my actions make a difference. Martin Luther King Jr. lived a life of service. Remember his words, everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love. And so it is. Amen.